Did you know 80% of new car engines are ruined by owner mistakes within the first 20,000 miles? One wrong move in the break-in period, and you've just shaved 50,000 miles off your engine's life. That's why I'm breaking down 13 things you should never do in a brand new car. And if you watch until the end, I'll share a bonus service tip that can double your car's lifespan. Let's go. Mistake number 13, ignoring the owner's manual. You know what drives me nuts? Folks spending 30, 40, 50 grand on a brand new car. And the first thing they do is toss the owner's manual into the glove box like it's junk mail. Biggest mistake you can make. That book isn't just filler. It tells you exactly how to keep your new car alive. Every manufacturer has their own rules for the break-in period. And if you don't know what that is, let me explain. The break-in period is the first few hundred to 1,000 miles on a brand new engine, where all the moving parts are still settling in and wearing together properly. This is the most critical stage of your car's life. Push it too hard now, and you'll shorten its lifespan permanently. Some manuals say, keep the RPMs under 3,500 for the first 600 miles. Some say, avoid towing, while others warn you about which fluids to use or when to do that crucial first oil change. It's all right there, in black and white. Here's the truth. The engineers who built your car know it better than anyone. If you can't be bothered to follow their guidance, you're gambling with the most expensive piece of machinery you own. And believe me, that's only the beginning. Some drivers do something even worse the moment they leave the lot, and that mistake can cripple an engine before it ever has a chance to breathe. Mistake number 12, flooring the gas pedal right away. The fastest way to ruin a new engine? Put your foot to the floor the second you drive it off the lot. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. Brand new car, less than 100 miles on it, and the owner just had to see what it can do. Big mistake. Engines need a break-in period that we've just talked about. Those piston rings have to seat against the cylinder walls, and that process only happens under controlled pressure and varied RPMs. Floor it too soon, and the rings glaze instead of sealing. What does that mean for you? You've got an engine that burns oil, loses compression, and starts coughing long before its time. I once had a customer with a new Dodge Ram. First week, he bragged to me about racing it at every stoplight. By 20,000 miles, it was guzzling a quart of oil every 800 miles. The factory didn't build it wrong. He broke it wrong. And here's the kicker. Your manual even warns against full throttle starts for the first 500 to 1,000 miles. That's not advice, that's survival for your engine. But some people make a mistake that's just as damaging. Not with their right foot, but by skipping something that's supposed to protect the engine from day one. Mistake number 11, skipping the first oil change. This is for the new car users. The very first oil change is the most important one your car will ever have. Ignore it, and you're shaving years off that engine's life. Why? When a new engine is breaking in, it sheds tiny bits of metal. We're talking microscopic shavings from the piston rings, bearings, and cam lobes. That's normal. It's part of the seating process. But if you leave that break-in oil in for 7,500 miles, like some modern service intervals suggest, you're circulating metal grit through your engine the whole time. That's like brushing your teeth with sandpaper. I've pulled apart engines with less than 15,000 miles on them and found scored bearings and scarred camshafts. All because the first oil change got skipped or pushed too far. Some manufacturers recommend doing it at 1,000 miles, others at 1,500 or 2,000. Either way, it's always sooner than the normal interval, and it's spelled out in the manual. Fresh oil early on doesn't just clean out the shavings, it lays down a clean slate for the engine's future. Cheap insurance for long-term health. But sadly, some drivers take things a step further. They don't just skip maintenance. They lock their engine into a bad habit that quietly ruins it mile after mile. Mistake number 10. Using cruise control too soon. I know it feels smooth to set the cruise on a brand new car, but let me tell you, it's one of the worst things you can do during break-in. Here's why. Those first few hundred miles, your piston rings are trying to seat against the cylinder walls, like I said before. That only happens with varied engine speeds and different loads. When you lock the car into cruise, you trap the engine at the exact same RPM for miles on end. Instead of wearing in evenly, the rings glaze in patterns. That leads to oil consumption, low compression, and rough performance later on. Even the manufacturers warn you, check the manual and you'll see it. Avoid steady speeds for the first 500 to 1,000 miles. They're not saying that for fun. They're protecting the most expensive part of your car. Now here's my rule after all these years of wrenching. Don't touch cruise control at all until you've got at least 1,500 miles on the clock. Give the engine time to break in, get through a couple oil changes, and let the rings and bearings settle naturally. After that, use cruise all you want. But if you think locking your engine into 1 RPM is bad, wait until you hear what happens when people overload a car before it's even had a chance to settle in. And hey, if you're finding these tips useful, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this with someone who just bought a new car, and subscribe so you don't miss the next mistake that could cost you thousands. Mistake number 9, overloading the car with heavy cargo. This one gets overlooked all the time. A brand new car rolls out of the dealership, and the owner immediately treats it like a moving truck. I've had customers load up a fresh SUV with landscaping blocks, or strap a heavy trailer on the hitch the same week they bought it. That's not breaking it in. That's beating it down. Here's the thing. When a car is new, the suspension components, struts, springs, bushings, are still bedding in. Overload it too soon, and you're stretching rubber, bending geometry, and cooking shocks before they've even had 1,000 miles on them. Tires take a beating too. I've seen brand new sets with flat spots and uneven wear after one overloaded road trip. Even the manufacturers warn you. Flip through the manual and you'll see it. No towing during the break-in period, sometimes up to 1,500 miles. And on forums like Bob is the Oil Guy, my fellow old-school mechanics will tell you the same thing. Let the car settle before you make it carry heavy loads. So keep it light. No overstuffed trunks, no towing toys, no testing the payload. Give it some miles first. And then there's another habit I see that really makes me shake my head. Folks trashing a brand new car in a way that scars it every single time they drive. Mistake number 8, hard braking and sudden stops. I'll tell you what I see all the time. Somebody buys a brand new car, takes it out on the road, and the first week they're slamming the brakes at every light, like it's a go-kart. That's one of the fastest ways to ruin brand new brakes. Brake pads and rotors don't come ready-made to grab perfectly. They need a bedding-in process. Several gentle stops that gradually heat and cool the surfaces so they mate properly. If you slam on the brakes over and over before that happens, you glaze the pads. Once they're glazed, forget it. You'll get squeals, vibrations, and reduced stopping power until you replace them. I had a customer with a brand new RAV4 with less than 800 miles on it. She came in complaining the brakes squeaked and the pedal felt weak. Sure enough, pads were glazed and the rotors had hot spots. Brand new car, already braking like an old clunker. Even performance brake manufacturers like Brembo will tell you. Heat cycling is critical in the beginning. It's not just racing cars that need it. Every new car does. Now, if this makes you cringe, wait until you hear about another bad habit. This one doesn't just hurt the brakes or the suspension, it starves the heart of the car every time you do it. Mistake number 7, running on low fuel. Running near empty is bad enough on an old car, but on a new one, it's even worse. Modern cars have high-pressure fuel pumps. They're built to last, but only if they're cooled and lubricated by the fuel itself. Run low too often, and those pumps run hot and dry. That shortens their life fast. And replacing one? You're looking at hundreds, sometimes over $1,000. The fuel tank is another problem. People think running low is no big deal because there's always a little left in reserve. True. But what's sitting at the bottom of that tank? Dirt, rust, and sludge. That stuff gets sucked into your fuel system when you're on empty. Clogged filters, dirty injectors, rough running. I've seen cars with less than 20,000 miles suffer because the driver always ran on fumes. Even AAA has warned drivers about this habit. They say you should keep at least a quarter tank at all times, not just for the health of your car, but for safety. Imagine getting stuck in traffic or a storm with barely any gas left. Not fun, and yet some folks keep doing it. But the next mistake? That one will grind away at your car every single day if you're not careful. Mistake number 6, neglecting tire pressure and alignment. Tires are your only contact with the road. If they're underinflated, they flex too much and build heat. That weakens the rubber and can lead to a blowout. Overinflated tires? They wear in the center and lose grip. Either way, you're cutting tire life in half. But it's not just the tires. Incorrect pressure also hurts fuel economy. The US Department of Energy says you can lose up to 3% of your mileage just from low tires. That adds up fast at the pump. Now, let's talk alignment. Hit a pothole, curb, or speed bump too hard, and your alignment shifts. Suddenly, your tires are pointing slightly off-center. The car still drives, but the wear pattern changes. One edge of the tire scrubs down, while the other looks new. In 10,000 miles, those tires can be toast. A bad alignment also makes the steering feel off. The car may pull to one side or the wheel vibrates. Ignore it long enough, and you're not just buying new tires, you're also stressing suspension parts. So check your tire pressure monthly and get an alignment every 6 to 12 months. Cheap insurance. Tire pressure and alignment are only part of the story. There are other common tire mistakes that can ruin your tires way faster than you think. Don't miss them. Click the link above to watch my video on car tire mistakes you're making right now. Mistake number 5, installing cheap aftermarket parts immediately. Slapping cheap aftermarket parts on a brand new car is like feeding junk food to an athlete before the big game. Sure, it might save you a few bucks now, but it can cost you thousands later. Here's why. Brand new cars are designed with precision. Every part, whether it's the air filter, brake pads, or even the spark plugs, is tuned to meet strict performance, safety, and emissions standards. Throw in a bargain bin part right away, and you risk upsetting that balance. For example, low-quality brake pads glaze over quickly, overheat, and leave you with weak stopping power. A cheap oil filter might not trap debris properly, letting contaminants circulate through your fresh engine. And let's not forget the warranty. Many automakers clearly state that using non-OEM parts, or poorly fitted aftermarket ones, can void coverage if they cause damage. Imagine blowing your transmission because of a cut-rate fluid or filter. That's not just a repair, that's financial pain. Aftermarket isn't always bad. There are excellent performance parts out there. But the key is timing and quality. On a new car, stick with OEM for at least the first few years. When you're ready to upgrade, choose reputable brands, not the cheapest option on the shelf. Cut corners here. and your upgrade might just be the first step toward an early breakdown. Mistake number 4. Skipping warm-ups in cold weather. Jumping in and driving hard on a freezing engine is like sprinting without stretching. You're begging for trouble. When your car sits overnight in the cold, the oil thickens and settles at the bottom of the pan. The moment you start the engine, critical parts like the crankshaft, pistons, and camshaft are running nearly dry until that oil circulates. Skip the warm-up, and you're grinding metal on metal in the harshest conditions. Over time, this causes scoring on cylinder walls, accelerated bearing wear, and even premature engine failure. You don't need to idle forever. In fact, excessive idling can wash fuel into the oil, diluting its protective properties. The sweet spot? Let the engine run for about 30 to 60 seconds, just enough for oil pressure to stabilize. Then, drive gently, no hard revs, no heavy throttle, until the temperature gauge starts to rise. Trusted sources like AAA and manufacturer manuals agree. Modern engines warm up faster and safer while being driven lightly, not sitting in the driveway for 10 minutes. But blasting off with a cold engine is one of the fastest ways to kill it. So, in cold weather, patience isn't just a virtue, it's cheap insurance against a blown motor. Mistake number 3. Washing with harsh chemicals or automated brushes. Scrubbing your brand new car with harsh cleaners or running it through a cheap brush wash is like sandpapering your paint job. Your car's factory paint and clear coat are designed to protect against UV rays, road salt, and weather. But the moment you introduce strong household chemicals like dish soap or ammonia-based cleaners, you strip away the protective wax layer and dry out the paint. Over time, that leads to dull, oxidized, and even peeling paint. Automated car washes with spinning brushes are just as bad. Those bristles hold onto grit and dirt from every car before you. The result? Thousands of fine swirl marks and scratches etched into your brand new finish after just a few washes. It doesn't take long before your car looks years older than it is. The fix is simple. Stick with pH-balanced car shampoos designed for automotive paint. And if you use a car wash, choose a touchless or soft cloth option. Hand washing with the 2-bucket method and microfiber mitts is even better. Follow up with a good wax or ceramic coating to lock in protection. Your paint is the first thing people see, and once it's damaged, it's expensive to restore. Treat it right from day one, and your car will keep that showroom shine for years. Mistake number 2, neglecting regular fluid checks. A lot of drivers think, it's new, so I don't need to worry yet. Wrong. Even fresh from the factory, cars can develop leaks, low levels, or contamination during break-in. Manufacturers often ship vehicles with break-in oil or assembly fluids that need to be changed earlier than the usual service interval. Ignore this, and you could be running your car with dirty or insufficient lubrication before the engine has even settled in. Fluids are the lifeblood of your car. Engine oil keeps metal parts from grinding. Coolant regulates temperature. Brake fluid maintains stopping power. And transmission fluid ensures smooth gear shifts. If you never lift the hood or check the dipstick, a simple fluid issue can snowball into overheating, transmission slip, or total engine failure. The smart move? Get in the habit of checking levels at least once a month and before long trips. Watch for discoloration, low levels, or burnt smells. And yes, fluids do need attention even in a brand new car. Here's the list of fluids that should be checked and sometimes changed early on in a new car. Engine oil and filter, often replaced at the first 1,000 to 1,500 miles during break-in. Coolant/antifreeze, check levels. Some manufacturers recommend an early flush to clear casting sand or assembly residue. Transmission fluid, auto or manual. Inspect it early. Some manuals call for a fluid change at 5,000 to 10,000 miles. Brake fluid should be topped off and inspected. Air bubbles or moisture can sneak in during shipping. Power steering fluid, if applicable, check for correct level and leaks. Differential fluid, especially in trucks and SUVs, early changes help remove break-in metal particles. Transfer case fluid, for AWD/4WD vehicles, an early inspection/change prevents future drivetrain wear. Windshield washer fluid, often overlooked, but vital for visibility and safe driving. Mistake number 1, ignoring the break-in period altogether. This is the one that makes me throw up my hands every time. People buy a brand new car and treat it like it's already been broken in. They floor it, tow heavy loads, slam the brakes, run on low fuel, and ignore every warning in the manual. That's the ultimate sin. Here's the truth. Every engine, transmission, and drivetrain component needs a proper break-in. Factory recommendations usually range from 500 to 1,000 miles. That's not arbitrary. It's the window where piston ring seat, bearings bed, and all moving parts wear in evenly. Skip it, and you're guaranteeing that the engine won't perform at its peak. Oil consumption goes up, compression drops, and longevity tanks. I've seen it countless times. Cars with just a few thousand miles, abused from day one, already showing early signs of wear, scored cylinders, glazed rings, worn out bearings. Doing everything wrong in that first 1,000 miles can cost you tens of thousands in repairs down the road. Here's my advice. Follow the manual, keep RPMs moderate, avoid towing or heavy loads, and be gentle with brakes and throttle. Let the engine breathe, and you'll be rewarded with years of trouble-free.
Subscribe Filter Bars channel for latest update.